Good start,
brother.
break
Thanks for
the
coming
ice,
by.
bro.
Oh, we have to, right? It's been a while. How you been?
I'm good, man.
The mayor of HB surfing.
Yeah. I things are good. Surfing, working, living a good life, healthy. I feel.
I mean, you look good. I mean, in the water especially.
I feel like
Sometimes I'm like, why would
I'm 40 now.
bring this guy back to the tour?
Yeah, you go through phases and then you go. I like spending time with my family. The kids are at that age where you just they're at a good age, sports, and I like being with them. And I've done it. You know,
Yeah.
I achieved kind of what I wanted to. Obviously, didn't win any world titles or anything, but I won a couple big events, and I look at it as a career as a whole. There's things I would have changed in a way, but overall, I'm kind of I'm happy.
I mean, I feel like because that's my favorite sport. That to me is like I wish I can do it more often and just be better at it.
We'll keep you out there.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the good part about having a good community of friends that if I go like I'm in between training sessions, I'm like just let me go three times and I can be happy the rest of the day.
Chito gets any way if he wants.
I love that. But in terms of like when the Open was like big, because at one point that thing was like
maybe one of the biggest events in the world. Well, obviously not at some point on a global basis. It wasn't a champion. It was a championship tour at one point, but when I won, it was a big qualifier event. But all the athletes were coming. You had Kelly, Andy, Mick, Parko, all the top dogs at the time. You know,
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. At some point, it was just as relevant as any other ones, and you get to. I mean, I remember you get to beat some huge names
For
there,
sure.
and that's like.
That was my coming out party.
That was your coming out party.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I'm sure you've gone through it in your career where you don't think, like, I was working hard. I was like, hey, this is where I want to make the world tour. With the world championship tour at the time, it was the top 44. I was all in. It didn't matter if I got fifth in every event. I wanted to make that tour, and that was like, that's the cream of the crop. It's like probably making the UFC in a sense. Like that's your passion just to you get there. I would have changed some things on goals, but to win that first one in 2009, I was like, fuck, it kind of caught me off guard in a way. But I was doing all the right things, training hard, surfing a ton. I felt like a robot. Like I could get scores whenever I wanted. And then the next year, to back anything up, but it came around, I did good. That 2009 qualified for the tour, and then was able to, in, July, able to go back to back. And it was kind of like a FU to everyone because they're like, oh, he got lucky. Lucky.
And then you go to
and it's kind of like, no, I didn't get lucky.
Yeah, I did it for real.
Yeah.
Who, like, on those lineups, on the first one you won on 2009, who were there, like, on the big names?
Well, I beat Mick Fanning in the final.
That's huge.
Which was massive because I think at the time I want to say he was won the world title. So he was the world champ, pretty sure. And then leading up to that one, there was like CJ Hobgood in the semifinals, Matt Wilkinson, I think in the quarters or like the round of 16. So huge names, Right. And Wilco and I were kind of on our climb. I think we both qualified that year for the tour. And then the following year, it was like I beat Kelly in the quarters, maybe, and then I know it was Jordy Smith in the final.
That's a
huge name. Like
that's a sick lineup.
Freaking like iconic names.
Right.
Like they're all heroes.
And in your hometown too, which is like kind of like sick.
It was one of those things, you guys get that. You guys get that stadium atmosphere. We don't really we go to really killer venues and crazy waves and sick spots, but that is one spot, the pier there. Well, that's why I was hoping the Olympics were there. I know Trestles got the bid and it's a better wave, but Huntington would have been so sick for the Olympics.
Just because you brought all the people again.
It's different, right? Like I was looking at it, like obviously I'm from there. I would love to see it out there. But from my perspective, like when you turn in and you see whatever it was on the beach, 20,000 people, you're like, holy crap. And you guys are like immersed in that. Like I don't even know how you stay in your skin.
It's heavy.
You have to control it, you know? And I was like, had to control it, but the excitement was so, the energy, like out of a long day, you're like, shit, I'm a little tired, but like it just picks you right on up, You
Yeah.
know, your family's there, your friends. It was one of those iconic.
That's a sick part about like the US Open. Like HB, that's, there's events, there's like car shows, skating,
Everything.
fireworks, and when they put it like on that stage and all those big things coming in. I mean, when I was a kid, I remember watching like small clips on YouTube, but it's like it's probably the most packed event
By
out
far.
of every other one.
By far, even to this day, like I feel like with live streaming webcast, it's like anything. It's maybe less people are coming down to the beach live, which kind of sucks in a way. But there's also still people are coming, and it's a perfect venue for it. It's just people always talk crap on the waves in the summer. Huntington's not that good, but at the end of the day, like, it's consistent in the performance. People are always doing crazy shit out there, like airs and
It doesn't matter on the wave. At that level of surfing,
There's gonna be
you can put someone on a boat wave and they're
high
gonna do
performance.
something. Like,
I agree, and that's why I was hoping the Olympics would be there. Just is closer to LA, but I don't know. I get it. Trestles is it's probably our best wave, right? It's performance wise, it's the best wave, but I just feel like stadium atmosphere, and like, I'm just thinking Olympics, like how just what are the bread and butter Olympic sports? Track and field, swimming, I don't know, soccer maybe, right? Soccer's big.
They have a huge crowd
Right? You can pack them in.
Because even Trestles, like, I mean,
It's hard to get down there.
It's hard to go down.
Not a lot of parking.
There's not really a beach. It's like
There's
you
a
have
beach
a
is 10 feet now.
Yeah.
They're going to put the scaffolding up. Maybe they don't want people. Maybe it's more of a ploy to, broadcast TV, right? TV rights. You got all the good athletes. I mean, that's where the money is. So
exactly. And now everything is done like that. Like, what is better for the business, but yeah, crowd wise is way better on an HB.
It just, those are iconic memories and moments that I'll cherish forever. There's times where you can't even find parking. Like, as an athlete, like, sometimes there's delegated parking, sometimes there's not. And you have to, like, prepare for that, right?
And
like,
once you park, you still need a bike.
You need a bike. Or I would half the time I'd park away and get dropped off, just so I didn't even have to think about it. And I just go post up at the contest. Once you're there,
right,
you got all the amenities you need. There's physios, there's everything. But it's just, a lot of that comes into it. But that part for Huntington would be crazy. Like, it would be a mess.
Right.
But you'd have hundreds of thousands of people around.
The beach will be
packed.
And
you'd have all the nations. Like, you have the hotels, you have all the amenities that would have been good for it. But I get it. Like, it's.
When is that gonna be?
That's in 28. Usually July, August of 2028.
So they're already picked Trestles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna the
performance
is gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
And hopefully that day the waves are good.
Exactly.
Because
I think it will. The consistency is good there.
At least on a beach break, you're counting with anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
it's consistent.
That's what HBO always have.
Yeah.
Like, you can on a day with 0 waves.
It's surfable.
Exactly.
And that's kind of the beauty and the beast of it, right? It's summertime. Sometimes if we do get swell, it's a little bit walled, but there's still broken up moments where there's performance and consistency.
And even like the small ones going into the pier, like, you got like
it's like, just imagine having all those people on the pier. You built stands, like, looking down. It'd be crazy.
Yeah.
But hey,
I mean, next time. Yeah. I mean, it's probably because you're from there and I'm close by.
Yeah.
We're going.
Well, I was thinking, man, as cool as it sounds, like, it would be a mess. You probably hard to even get down there.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
Like, good luck bringing your whole family down there. I brought my whole family one time there. It was the first and last.
Chaos.
It was like walking down. Hey, grab this, grab that.
This.
Oh, you dropped your sandals when? Like a mile away? I'm like, fuck, I'll be back. And it's, for me, I can spend 6 hours there. I'm not catching a wave.
Yeah.
So
we'll get you waves. We'll get you waves.
Well, I'm talking Trestles.
Oh, Trestles. Oh, yeah.
There's no.
It's weird, that place. Like, you could go sometimes and you get in a good little rhythm, but most of the time it's you could be out there like you said, 2 to 3 hours and not even get a wave. And it's even for me now, like, I used to surf there a lot more just because it is the performance mecca.
It's great, yeah.
You have to go. Like, you could try boards. It's just a perfect training ground. But yeah, you paddling out there, you almost have to have like a fighter's mentality,
100%.
or you're not going to get a wave.
I remember one time I was in the water for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Probably barely catch one wave. Then I was leaving the beach and I saw Kelly paddling, and I was like, I have to go back.
Yeah, yeah.
So I literally
Split
went back,
peaks.
and he was like, he let me go on easily like 8 waves,
Yeah.
like good ones.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is my favorite sport in the world. I came the next day by myself. In 4 hours, I didn't catch one wave.
You just
I told myself,
start to throw some of those Cheeto elbows.
I say, I would never come back here unless I come with a friend.
You know what you got to do, since you're like you're goofy foot, whatever. The thing is, you got to partner up with someone, and like you got to paddle together and kind of like make a path, and one goes left, one goes right. It's the best way, or else it's kind of chaos. Someone swoops in front of you. You'll have 20 people going for the same wave, you know, and it's just a battle pretty much. Someone from the inside, someone's coming.
And there's guys, if they're good enough, they're going to
catch it. Yeah.
But I really need an empty path. If not, I'm getting hurt or getting someone hurt.
Yeah.
So that's where you have
collision course. Well, you see it all the time out there. That place of all, because everyone's dropping in. Someone's thinking they're going right. This guy's going, and it's a tangle up. It's like every other wave. It feels like someone's banging rails or has to kick out.
But in other places, I mean, when you got a little more open peaks, it's just like a little simpler.
It's like Newport. It's Huntington. Fall's the best because it's peaky.
Yeah.
But it is nice to be able to sometimes just paddle out there and not have to worry solely on the crowd and just focus on waves.
Exactly.
Which
sucks. I've been out of the water for like 8 months.
I know, I haven't seen you.
I haven't surfed at all.
It's all right.
I kind of like turn it off, just focus on turn. But now that I'm getting closer to the fight, is when actually helps me.
It does, huh? Because even past fights, I remember seeing you surfing more closer to it. Probably good. I would think it would be like a good cross training, right?
100%. It's good for my mind, keeps
Clarity.
my body strong. And if I get few waves and I get few little turns, it makes me so happy that
your mind, I haven't surfed for maybe 3 or 4 days, and I even lose my shit. It's more just it's like a mental thing, and then
it gets you tired enough that you don't get like
you're relaxed at
night.
You're
relaxed at night. Like I go to sleep, I sleep better, and then actually my back gets stronger with a different exercise. That helps with my chokes.
You're in that like flexion, and a lot of times you guys are kind of just
because I'm always here. Forward, so that make me I've been thinking for the last few days. I'm like I'm gonna undust my wetsuit and get back to it.
I'll take you.
Yeah,
let's do this.
I go. Yeah, that would be sick because I when I look back, I had actually better performances, and I believe it's because of the mind clarity. I think that's.
There's nothing like, even my mom wasn't a surfer. Both of them grew up in the Midwest, like Michigan, but she's just going down to the beach, like the fresh air. There's something about it that like is so refreshing. And
like sometimes just the water, just being in the water. When you sit on your board and
you can have a shitty session and come in, and you even if you're like, I didn't get much waves, like you feel like the day's begun, or it just feels that much better.
Exactly.
And that's kind of like, for me, surfing, like competitive surfing took a little bit out of me, because you're so always like hyper analyzed on your equipment. Like, is this board good? There's certain things that kind of take away from maybe the you fun. You love it, but the fun. And then when I stopped competing, I was like, shit, every board works good. I'm having way more fun. Like, it was kind of crazy. It just the dynamic of it.
Is the pressure of competition.
And it's like anything. You don't want to lose, but in surfing, any sport, you're going to lose a lot. Like you just don't give up until you lose. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where I would lose like 6 or 7 first rounds trying to qualify for the world tour. I'd be like, maybe I'm done. Like, maybe this isn't what it is, but I just couldn't give up on it, and luckily had sponsors and support that would like, hey, Dad was great. Just like, stay strong. You're going to it's going to turn around. It's going to turn around,
I mean, if you keep on going, it will turn
It
around.
will, right?
That's
And
the
that's
thing
the
about
thing.
it.
You give up, you're fucked. But if you don't, at some stage, and even if you don't win, you learn. You win in some way, right? You win in different ways that'll help you down the line.
Even if doesn't work for that specific goal,
Yeah.
that work ethic
Setting you up.
will make it work on whatever you pick up next.
For sure.
And that's what I see when I look back when I was surfing and skating, and all my friends were like killing it. Like I remember the first airs that they started throwing and the first 360s. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
We have the same amount of time. We always have together, and maybe my brain just didn't pick it up the same way. And then, but I never stopped surfing.
So-
I never stopped skating. But then when I transitioned to fighting, I did tell myself, everything that I fail or everything that I was scared of because,
The fear, or yeah.
I'm gonna bring it here and be like, not this time,
All
not
in,
this
yeah.
time. And that bad taste of those two sports that I love the most, I'd never get like as good as my friends. I was like, I'm gonna fight like my life depend on it. But I just
I think you've done pretty damn good.
but at the beginning when
For
I
sure, I know what
started
you're saying.
grappling, I was
Yeah.
like, I can't push that again.
Yeah.
Like if I would remember, like, oh fuck, the guy's kind of too good in the tournament, and I
Yeah.
was like, you said the same thing when you were about to drop in that ball 3
Yeah.
years ago, and you didn't do it because we know I can fool everybody, but I can fool myself.
Yeah.
So like when I was scared to drop. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get a speed for the bottom and then
Go
do
to-
whatever I want. I was like, okay, I gotta do
Conquer
it now.
Yeah.
But I still do a little bit of both. And
The cool part about it is you have a lot of fun doing it now. Like you said, that's your sport or your activity to kind of, obviously you still love it, but it takes you a little bit away from the investment that you're putting in at fighting all the different martial arts. Like that's in itself, I don't even know how you have enough time.
like honestly, sometimes like I normally train at 10. Normally I surf anywhere between 6 and 8, and like 9:20 I gotta go in the car, change, and go to the gym. Or like afternoon after my second training, like if there's any light out and there's any surfable, I used to go. But it was a consistency of like, it was every week.
Yeah. Well, once you do, it's like anything. Like you get on that routine of rising early, and it just becomes, you don't even have to set your alarm anymore.
Exactly.
Right. And I love that part. I love being up early. I guess as a surfer, we become accustomed to that. That's when it's, especially living here in Southern California, it's usually glacier. Waves are usually better. So you kind of become accustomed.
And my kids are up at 7 already eating breakfast for school. So it's like,
Got to get, you
I'm
gotta get in
waking
the
up at
crew
6:40 regardless when my wife wake up or whatever. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I could go surf now. And then my text people,
Yeah.
but they're already in the water.
They're
I'm like, if no one, and I can go by myself.
Yeah.
I need to like,
How about, well,
I always
smart,
have done that. I always go with friends.
Yeah.
But
I think it's smart too.
It's all routine. I feel like I'm gonna start getting it back because what I have been doing, I kind of replace surfing, and when I have like an hour or 2 hours gap in between things, I go into the range and just shoot my guns.
That's fun too.
And that also take me away because I
Yeah.
gotta aim, I gotta like focus, and I'm like, but I'd rather surf to be honest.
It's like you said, I think it's the activity of it all.
Anything.
It just it probably ties you in, and it almost probably actually unwinds you a little bit.
Exactly.
Right? From you're always not tense, but you're kind of focused on certain things, and where that is just like the clarity is. I feel like that's for me, and I was even like at it as a professional. Now I do it because I know how much happier it makes me feel. I go home, I'm happy. I'm lucky enough now, my kids are getting to the age where they're surfing a little bit, and it's like it's fun to go out there with them, and I'm begging them to come out, and just healthy.
What would be the things that you would do when you were like
Young?
pro, and what was the thing that you would do to unwind, like outside surfing?
I played, you know what I did? Like I grew up playing a lot of ball sports, like baseball, basketball. Didn't play tackle football, but I would always like during during when I was on tour, I played a lot of basketball, and I wouldn't say that unwound me. It actually kind of, looking back, if I would have changed it a little bit, and it was just something I loved to do and play, but you can easily roll your ankle. It's pounding on the body. I already had some kind of niggling injuries, knee, back. And I would say it didn't help by any means, but it was just like, it was my unwinder to go shoot hoop and run with the boy and play. And it was competitive. Yeah. And I think that part I enjoy. I enjoy the competitiveness of it in all sports. I think that's what I drew from all these other sports. And now, like, UFC is probably one of my favorite things to watch. Like, I don't train for shit. I don't do jujitsu, none of it. But like, to me, the just to fathom, like, locking into the cage with somebody else is fucking barbaric and epic, though. That part to me is like, dude, however many pay-per-views I'm supporting Dana and the boys, because it's just sick. There's something about it that's like, I don't even know. It's just, I love the matchups and the whole thing about it, the competitiveness, the rivalries, and the job they do. It's just badass.
It is an early sport.
I don't want anything to do with it, but I watch it.
And you have never, like, I mean, I would say for the surfer, like, maybe some boxing or jiu-jitsu you have never done?
Well, I should, because cardio-wise, I will say that was one thing. Like, there were certain things, because there's places you go, you have long paddles. Heats might be 20, 30 minutes, but half the time you're paddling, So looking back and kind of like what we were talking before this, there are certain things I would have changed. And I think, like, the cardio end, I always had like a deviated septum and finally got it fixed, and I could breathe. Like, I feel like it's probably 10 years ago, but I could breathe night and day better. And I felt like, I'm not making an excuse, but like at the time there was moments I just couldn't get air. Like, fucking felt like I would about to die in a heat.
And what back then, you were just surfing, or you were doing?
I was doing like plyos, like plyometrics, ladders, and more quick twitch stuff, med ball, maybe a little lifting, but nothing crazy.
No running, nothing.
Little bit of running. Like, I do running. I like I said, long distance shit. I always had like this is where I would have changed. I always had a quick explosiveness, but a cardio is an issue. Being honest, it was an issue. And I think that part, when you think surfing, oh, I'm just gonna rip this wave, like, in my mind, yeah, that I can do that. But there's certain things you have to do to get to that wave. And if it's big and stormy, if it's far paddle out or a long right hand point break, certain things that can take away from your performance that aren't even doing with actual what you're, surfing on a wave.
Right.
So, and it's probably the same with you guys. Like, if you have a 5-round match or a 3, like, I don't even know, like, the amount of cardio you have to stay. It's not necessarily, it's more to, like, it all adds up to staying sharp in that moment when that time comes. Like, if that wave comes and you're huffing and puffing and you can't perform how you have to on that wave, you're fucked.
Right.
And there was moments like that where in my head, I'm going, I'm hurt. Like, I kind of beat myself, and that part wasn't necessarily a skill thing. It was a cardio mental battle. And those are the type of things where, because when I finished like professional, like, competition, I ended up, I thought I'd never coach, because I was like, fuck, I want nothing to do with it. I just want to get away from it.
And now you're in charge of all the kids.
Yeah. Well, what I learned was I took like a year or two off, and I'm like, this is everything I know. And everything, I would say, like, I had coaches and stuff, but I made tons of mistakes. I was just a little bit more raw and wanted to do it my way. And you kind of have to, mend to the format and certain things. And so there was a lot of mistakes made, but I felt like, man, those things I could teach to these kids, like what they have to do to get to that next level. And I thought, like I said, I would never coach, but I just took a little time from it. I stepped back and I go, man, I have a lot to give. I made mistakes, but I learned a lot. And I think that those parts of learning are what the youth need. Like, They might think they have the same thing. They might have the ability, but they don't have certain, X, Y, and Z to get to that next level that they can work on.
Exactly.
So I think that part, and then I got away from myself and I looked at it like more, how can I help someone else, and I think that part even made it more fun. It has made it more fun for me. And
And how does it start? Like, I mean, already everybody knew you from there. I'm sure you know all the kids, but like, how get official? Like now you're gonna like get in charge of them.
So I stepped into the USA like junior role, and that's like all the under 18 kids from East Coast, West Coast, and they compete once a year in a World Juniors, whether it's in El Salvador. They move it around. So you take a team of it's about 12 athletes, 3 in U18, 3 in U16 guys and girls. Then you travel and you compete against all the other nations. So that part, like they have regional events that kind of help them qualify for the team. You obviously, like, I feel like I can see talent, it's always kind of like keying in on who's coming up and just understanding like, hey, maybe they don't even do the contest yet, but they're kind of getting into that realm. And so I did the World Junior or the USA Juniors for a handful of years, kind of transitioned into getting the Olympic job for 2020. It was 2020, but moved into 21 in Chiba, and had at the time it was John Kalohe, Caroline Marks, and Carissa. And Carissa ended up winning the gold, and it was COVID year, but that probably in a sense was one of my biggest achievements too. I mean, winning she won a gold medal. The boys, our two boys ended up meeting each other in the third round, which sucked.
Because now you're
losing one for sure.
One for sure, yeah.
So they kind of killed each other off, and then Caroline was like on fire. It was kind of like her event to win in a way. She was dominant all the way up until pretty much finals day. Waves got kind of bigger and stormy, and it changed the landscape. And that was one of those things where it was like big, stormy. It was like kind of you versus Mother Nature. It wasn't technically the skills and ability. You had to have both, obviously. And Carissa just kept stepping up, and then she ended up going on to win. I think Caroline was hard-pressed not to even medal. She lost in this bronze medal match. But yeah, like that for me, just seeing it at that level, it was COVID. There was nobody around, but it was still like for it to be at the first Olympics, really, I don't know. It's pretty damn awesome.
I mean, that's huge because that was your first experience as a coach.
Yeah.
And had someone.
We did do good. Like I had before that, we did have like a World USA Juniors at the pier, and we won gold. One of our men's won the U18, Dimitri Poulos, and then I think Katie Simmers and someone else also went like second and third. So we had a really good junior team. And it's all of these athletes that are kind of there now. This is 2019. It was Cole Hauschman, Crosby Colapinto, those type of athletes that are on the world tour now were in this program, so they're all kind of leading up. And I mean, the program's good. We're in a little battle right now with that, to be honest. Like our NGB status is a little uncertain. Like the US OPC kind of holds on to it, and USA Surfing's trying to get it back right now. So it's a little bit of a tussle. I think it would be good that if USA Surfing did get it back, because it's kind of run by surfers, and that's our first, bread and butter. So USA Skis put in a bid, which obviously have a ton of money, but hopefully we can work at it and kind of, because we're doing a lot of the work kind of building these athletes up, not just solely the Olympics, right? This is like, surfing's an everyday thing. It's a sport. You have the junior series, you have these amateur ranks, you have the junior series, you have the qualifying series, the challenger series, and the world tour. And it's all a process of kind of crawling.
Right, instead of like just using them for Olympics, which happen every 4 years.
They pretty much just want the 4 surfers and the TV rights, USA Ski, which is, we obviously get it. There's a lot of money there, but I think working together, USA Surfing as a whole would be in a better spot as we move into these, into the 28 games, 32, and as it goes, like you got to keep stacking up those chips of talent, because who knows, in 4 years we still have, the Griffins and the Crosbys and the Coles and well, who knows if John will still be doing it, but that type of list. But at a certain point, life goes on, and we got to keep finding these new generational talents.
Because there's a lot of kids that surf for fun, and you see every 3, 4, 5, 6 months, they go from like, oh,
Whoa.
wow, you're killing it now. But if there's not someone that goes like, hey, let me give you the platform, come to this group, start competing these small events, if you want to compete, right?
For sure.
And then that's how you keep promoting the next generation, because if
it's a crazy dynamic. I feel like some kids are competing like too young. There's like 9 to 8 push-in divisions where parents are losing their mind. They want their kid to be the next best thing, which is good, right? Like it's fine.
But that pressure also kills an athlete.
The pressure of a young athlete just trying to have fun at that stage can be detrimental. Like my dad was on me pretty heavily about baseball, and by 12 years old, I just ran away from it. I just found surfing. I couldn't barely stand up, but I'm like, this is pretty fun.
Yeah.
And ended up running for the hills and just started surfing, and he lost his shit. Like, he's like, what are you doing? Like,
and that's the thing with most parents. Like, when I used to like teach jiu-jitsu classes, like it was a normal class, like all beginners kids, and you will see dads screaming.
Yeah.
Like, that kid's gonna be in the UFC one day. I'm like, dude,
he's 9, he's 8.
He have told me that he don't even like this.
It, yeah.
So it's like, that's what, like, since I'm an athlete, I learned that I don't push any sport because I know I'm gonna scare him out. Like, oh, you wanna?
I'm kind of in that stage too with my kids. I'm like, man, you want them to be great, but it's just kind of laying it out there. Keep throwing things, like trying to put them in different sports to figure it out. And maybe one sticks, one they don't like, whatever it is. But yeah, I feel like you can be overbearing. Like, we're competitive. You want your kid to succeed. I get it, but there's a point where you can't just suck the life right out.
Well, they will like not even hate the sport, but they probably won't even perform just to let you know, like,
just piss you out.
Yeah,
exactly. Just go the other way.
It's like, I don't want to do right now this. I don't want to go for the technical.
It's the old saying, like, you could only lead the horse to the water, right?
But you can make it drink.
Yeah, you just kind of have to lead. Hopefully, you're leading them down the right path of success. But if you're too overbearing, it's some of the best in the world make it through. And they are the best. They become the best in the world. It's the percentage.
But that percentage was probably born with a gnarly mindset that I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do it. And
they loved it. And maybe they really did love it, and they soaked in every little bit along the way.
But most humans, if you push them too hard, they're gonna stiff down,
go the other way.
Like, at one point, I was taking my son a lot to like Blackies and just pushing him.
Yeah.
But I was like pushing him at my pace.
You wanted it more than You almost need to let them just jump on the board, frolic around, figure out how to lay on the board.
Exactly.
All of a sudden they'll start to paddle it, and then all of a sudden they're in on a whitewash, and whoa, they're up. And then that whole thing is like, I can do it.
Yeah.
Rather than, I think a lot of us, like, I was the same way. I freaking take my kid out on the board, push him, and it was like, he's not even learning anything.
Exactly.
He's not learning water awareness, not getting literally, like, it's almost good when they get hit by a wave. They got to learn how to hold the board and balance, and if they go under, I think I don't know. It's a crazy dynamic as a parent, because you're like, you want them to be great, but
like,
it's like,
it was like 3 years ago. I was like, I'm dying for this kid to surf crazy. So if I start now, I make the math. If I start now, in 2 years, he's gonna be killing it. And then I was like, yeah, but that's my mindset.
That's what you want.
That's
not. He's not even thinking about it.
A few times he went under the water, and he was like, "What the fuck you do now?" And I was like, he's not gonna have the awareness to grab a leash.
I learned the hard way too. Like, I did that. We went to Hawaii. Was it last winter? The waves were. For me, it wasn't big. But I'm like, shit. I look at him, and we're out there, and I'm like, he's this big, and I'm like, oh, crap. Get him on a wave, killer wave, rides a wave, kicks out. This is at Freddie Land, right across from V Land. All of a sudden, it's kind of like a deeper water wave. It's not like super shallow or anything, but this wave just kind of comes out of the channel and just lurches up, and it's like maybe a 4 to 6 foot wave, like face, and a lot of power, and he just is right in front of it. I took off on the soft top to get to him, and this wave just steams rolls him, and he comes up just, I want to go in, and I'm like, oh shit, what did I just do?
Yeah.
And I try to just like comfort him and like, you're all right, dude, you survived, like, and he just like,
Yeah.
for a while he's just like didn't want nothing to do with it, and I'm like, I just ruined it right there. And I kind of did it with my daughter, pushed her in a tiny wave at Bolsa Chica, and it was on a big board, and the board lifted her up and kind of flung her off. And I mean, small wave, but you forget how at least, and it was exactly what you're saying. You're kind of in your own little realm of where you want them to be.
Yeah.
And she got bucked off and didn't want to even go in the water for like 2 years. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's what, like, I did
it. Ruined it.
I did a stop, and this morning they're out of school, so we went to the beach, and I was like, okay, no surfboards, just let them get in the water.
Feel it, yeah.
Get wet.
Yeah.
Make friends with the cold water.
Yeah.
The sun is out, so I'm like, and then today I saw my son, he was like jumping in the water. I was like, okay,
yeah,
maybe now I got my second
throw
chance.
Throw a board in front of them, even a boogie, like just to get on it, and
I think
they
that's the
like
best
that
one.
because then they turn, catch the whitewash, and they go, whoa, riding a wave. It's a crazy,
best
even if it's a
feeling.
whitewash, like it'll hook you. And I think that's for them is like they get a little bit further out, and then they get the whitewash, and then they're like they're hooked.
I think that's the best start, the little boogie, because
board.
that's gonna like it's gonna like they're gonna
You learn how to balance, and then even if you get on a bigger long or a short board like a foamy, you're just cruising.
like I mean that I think I'm gonna just do that, get a bodyboard and just be like, hey, this is gonna be easy.
They'll have fun on it too. They'll be like
There's no
spinning,
fins.
There's no fins.
They're able to go into the sun.
Slide, exactly. Pretty fun.
I think that's gonna be what I'm gonna do next.
Have you been out to the wave pool?
Which one?
It's Palm Springs.
I haven't. I'm
We
dying
gotta
to
get
go.
you.
I've been asking
I'm sure the boys, all the crew out there, local crew, they would love to have
every
you,
time I
dude.
see a friend that I'm like,
It's super
make
fun.
me +1 next time,
Let's do this.
and it's close.
You
by.
know Teddy Navarro?
Yeah.
Yeah. Teddy, he kind of runs the show.
He's the
out
boss there?
Yeah.
I wanna hit him up because I want like any Saturday I could
Yeah.
drive real quick.
It's it's an hour and a half. You could ride even in a public session. It's say there's 12 people out. It's a 6-wave set, and you ride 16 waves or something in the hour. You just go half lefts, half rights, whatever you want to do. It's pretty fun.
I've been trying to go, so eventually
There's
I'm gonna
going to
go.
be, I think they're popping up everywhere. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity.
I heard they're doing one here
Right
in
here.
Newport,
Yeah.
like in the golf course.
Yeah. That one looks legit. Too.
I live like half
Right
a
there.
mile from there.
You're going to be local. You
If
might get the VIP pass.
I'm gonna try my best. I sell a card to get a membership.
So I know they put in a big bid to do the Olympics there, and I don't know how it all panned out, but the setup's gonna be, from what I've seen and heard, it looks really cool. Like it's I think it's Wave Garden, but it's got the diamond shape where the pier, you got a left and a right, just peels like that. They're gonna have all kinds of killer stuff.
I mean, the wave pools I think is the best way to get better.
Yeah.
If you don't have consistently waves.
Yeah.
Like I went back home and that's the last time I surfed. What is that, like 3 months ago, Rod?
When you last surfed?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
No, we were in Ecuador.
Oh, yeah. Like 5 months ago.
Yeah, that's the last time I surfed, and then probably here like 4 more months that I haven't. So 8 months total in California.
Yeah.
But Ecuador was like no swell, nothing, and
No.
it's still surfable.
Right. Yeah.
So in places like that, you don't need a wave pool.
Yeah.
But here you need like almost like
I
climate
feel like
change.
too, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of surfers too. Like people go, like you would still be getting a lot of people. That's the thing too, because if you're older and say you do paddle out here and you might, in the 2 hours or an hour you surf, you ride 4 waves. You can go there and obviously you pay, but you can ride so many waves. Like a lot of the younger kids out there even say like, dude, we've gotten so much better because they work there, but they, say they started up an hour early and they ride waves. Consistency is key, right?
Yeah.
And surfing, and different than reading the ocean, but
but at least your mechanics when you catch the wave will get better.
Exactly. And I think the same with a place like Waco, Texas, that pool. There's guys that literally never surfed in the ocean, I've heard, and they're surf out there, and they're good. Like, they're good surfers. So it's crazy. Like,
that must be crazy.
You might never be in the ocean. Like, and you could still figure out how to make the mechanics of riding a wave. You know, I think that's like, it's kind of scary in a way because like like around, you might have that kind of Rick Kane event.
I mean, eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's...
Imagine how many good athletes, like... Yeah.
Because if they do the Newport one, that's going to even help with the crowd. Because let's say there's a big swell, but everybody surf out.
Yeah.
Then it's not going to be like 50 people in the jet. It's going to be 10.
Nobody. Yeah, exactly.
And that's going to help. I feel like
crowds
they're good.
In general, yeah.
I like them.
I actually have a lot of fun at them. And I think for the kids too, like having 2 young kids at that realm is like, you just see kids getting better quicker at airs and all these little technical things.
I mean, now you see kids doing crazy
Zachy is
airs.
9. I mean, there's kids doing airs at the youngest of ages.
And
it's
I
crazy.
feel the wave pool is a big
Huge
impact
part.
in that.
Huge part.
What do you think about when they do events there? You like that or you done?
The WSL one, I was super interested, and then by like the 3rd wave, I was like, fuck, it's kind of hard to watch. But I'm a big fan of surfing, right? I pretty much watch everything. And I just feel like sometimes when the wave's too long, it was just kind of their stagnant parts. But if you've surfed that wave, like Kelly's wave, how long it is, and for what most of the athletes are doing, it's really hard and technical to connect that whole wave, get the barrel, and look, aesthetically pleasing. It's really, really hard to do. And I respect it. And I know, I just feel like the wave height kind of like makes it a little like hard to open up in ways. So I feel like for me I like watching like the air shows. Stab High does a cool one. They're doing one in Japan, I think next month, where it's like strictly airs. And I think that's pretty cool.
That's fun. Yeah. Because it's that's like, pretty much
it's
a show.
Like playing skate or like like maybe vert, or I don't even know how to compare it in skate.
Yeah, but
it's
the stab shows are cool because they go biggest barrel or biggest air,
exactly,
or like the sickest combo,
technical,
and they separate them, so that also bring excitement. Because
exactly.
I love surfing and catch like a WSL.
Yeah,
if the wind pick up, cancel. If this, it's just like you're like, it's
hard.
almost impossible to watch live.
See, and that's the part why I think surfing struggles on a mainstream platform. Like it's hard if you can't, like, we know I'm going to tune in at 7 p.m. on Saturday night, or it might be if it's overseas, but like, hey, UFC's coming on at 4 p.m. or 7 p.m. I'm tuned in. I can watch prelims, like, and it goes. God forbid there's no crazy shit going on. Like, but surfing, we're so dependent on Mother Earth, which is cool. I think that's the beauty we have, and the difference is like every day. And that's the part that did my mind in, because you could feel so on, and you can wake up the next day and it could be big and messy, and it kind of like, hey, it's maybe not in my wheelhouse as much.
Right.
You're
pretty much
fighting
with
Francis Ngannou today. You're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and or like, it can be like that changes with nature, because it can be raining, can be windy, can be stormy.
There's all these things. So like in your mind, like you might have 2 amazing days. You're like, if they finished it today, I'd freaking win this contest. And then you got to wake up the next day and you don't know. You don't know what the conditions. So the beauty of that is what most surfers know and feel, and you understand, like, hey, one day's glassy, the next day might be windy. You got to be prepared for it all. Where, in that wave pool setting, but even in the wave pools I've been watching, there's been wind. Like last year at the Stab, it's not covered, so there was crazy wind. They got a full storm. And then Abu Dhabi this year, it was windy. So, I mean, I feel like you're going to make these pools, you got to take away all of that, because the performance level will even go above and beyond.
Right.
Airs will be more consistent. The board won't be flying away. So
Because when the wind is heavy,
It's
The-
either it's like a blessing and a curse. If it's coming up the face and at a certain angle, it could be good. But in Japan last year, it was like they couldn't go right. They'd try an air and board would fly away. And then the left, there was some moments. But even then, guys weren't sticking a ton of air. So it got a little bit like
Yeah.
watching it, you're like, you
was
know how
hard.
difficult it is. But like you also go, these guys are the best.
yeah,
Like
these guys learn everything.
I want to see the consistency, you know? And that's what I think people miss out and maybe sometimes don't understand is how good most of these guys on the world tour are. They're so
when you
fucking
watch
good.
them surf on a free day,
Oh,
you go like, what the?
It's a
fuck?
different level, and to get to that level and to in like some of these air shows, you know, you see them and they perform, or these video parts, like these guys have to be ready to go day to day. And what Italo's doing, what some of these guys are doing, it's crazy.
Idol is like a full
He's a freak, yeah.
acrobatics guy.
He's a gymnast, dude.
That's,
You
that's
can't
the-
even like, it's almost like a guy like myself. I'm like, I don't even relate sometimes. I'm like, I don't even know how he does that. You know, like I can do some airs, but not what he's doing.
No,
And you don't even-
he fucking do backflips and shit. Like,
He's a freak of nature, and
He's
it's
a
been
freak.
great for the sport. You know, it's lifted the sport to where, you know, that explosiveness, the uncanniness of what he can do. Like you can be at a perfect right point break, and he takes it. He could blow that shit all out the window. He'll drop in on a closeout and get a 9, doing one huge, ginormous hair.
that's one thing that I saw a big shift. Like, what are your opinion on, for example, back in the day, I got like Parco, Andy, or even Kelly or yourself. Like, you guys will like, you know, big turns, big cutbacks, maybe an error, but more like, you know, all the fundamentals.
Fundamental, yeah.
And today, a guy just go crazy speed, throw one error, and that could be
I'll
more-
say it's not. It's
more
not my.
points.
It's not my favorite type of style in surfing. Right? Like I respect it, but I'm still. I kind of like in that generation where I worked really hard to like work on the style, work on the flow. It'd be like you guys. I mean, you guys have all these different things, but just being aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Like you want people to watch your fights. You want people to watch your surfing, right? Like that brand of surfing. And I think the airs are like what he's doing is like above and beyond. It's not, but I feel like there's certain things where I go, well, I still lean towards, you know, Ethan Ewing or Griffin with a whole, like more of that whole package, right? Connect the dots, but then bust an air. Maybe not as big as Italo, but style, flow,
like the big power
big
turn.
power. And that's hard to do. It's like 2 ways to slice a cat, right?
Right.
You either have that connectivity, which like I was saying, when you watch some of these guys at the pool and ride that wave for a minute long on rail, connecting the dots, blowing the fins on the rail, like that is it's the ultimate in surfing. Like it's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Like, I like more like they have everything fundamental,
The
like
package.
a big floater to
Connect
the section.
Felipe.
then-
Felipe
Felipe's a good
surfing
example.
his style, and he's grown a lot because he can do all the crazy airs. But he's put on weight, he's put on power, and his surfing like is just much stronger now. Like he's a bigger man, but it's like he connects all those things together really well. And I think that's I enjoy watching that.
I have seen him live. He surf.
He's so
It's
fast.
really fun to watch him.
He's so fast. Like there's a few of those guys. They just jump up, like a lot of them, but they jump up on a wave, and it's like, whoa, it's just a different caliber.
And yeah, and the amount of sprite, it's almost
Spray,
like
yeah.
like you see like a perfect like
They're pretty much doing a turn. Like they do a turn, and then the next turn they're going into it, and like kicking the fins, and spray's still coming down from the previous turn. It's pretty sick.
yeah. No, I mean I have been watching you also live. Is like it's two different animals watching a phone video or a TV than when you're live. It's
Yeah.
like you can see like there's like
The movement.
there's
yeah.
extra stuff in there.
Yeah, and that's like, I mean, that's the difference from being good to being great. There's just like even footwork on a board. I think some people think, oh, I stand up and then you're just locked in. Like, no, you're shuffling, and it'd be the same thing with boxing. Like you're a little bit forward, you're a little bit back. Your weight has to shift at times. Like driving down the line, you might be forward, and then you gotta going into this carve, and you're just all weight on the back foot, and then you're forward again. So there's so many variables and motions of like the body, and then you are doing a lot of torque, a lot of twisting and a lot of like opening up and then closing. It's a full body.
It's a full body, because I have like sometimes when I'm watching, I see like how the feet goes all the way outside the pad, and then all the way back, and it's like if I stand up, I'm locking at the end of the pad, and I'm just like squatting down. It's like, don't fall, don't fall.
Yeah, and I think that shuffling is just, you're trying to balance, you're trying to get the most out of your board where you're not fighting it, right? You're kind of like centered in the middle, but then you're driving and the board's just skating across the water. And then as you go to turn, you want to be more back, kind of with typically rails and fins, right? You don't want to bury too far up, but you want to, like, if you're laying into it, you want to bury the rail, hoping those fins kind of hang on. And I think that's like the ultimate combination of like speed and power and flow. And it's hard to do. It's hard to do, to make look good, and then connect turns is and it's a challenge.
It's a little bit of everything, and especially when you can do all that and your body mechanics move well, like you give like better aesthetics. Like some people to watch live, you go like, wow, like that was pretty to watch. It was like that surfing is beautiful. And sometimes like I like a lot of, like I ask a lot of surfers, what you think, like it's a lot of turns or just one big air? And I mean, I think I stay more in this side.
Yeah. I mean, Italo obviously does it all. I keep going back to him because he's way out in front right now.
He's like the number one on being like a crazy surfer in terms of like how high he goes.
The speed. I mean, if anything, it's like sometimes in between turns can be a little bit, but he charges. He's won at Pipe. He's won at all these venues that take a lot of balls, take a lot of courage. So he's a world champ.
He's a fighter.
Dude, he's a scrapper. And he came from, that's another great story of like, he didn't come from much. The guy came out of nowhere, kind of, I remember doing some QSs down in Cabo, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And he just on world tour next year, winning events. You're like, what the world? Like,
he's hungry.
He's hungry.
He does crazy stuff, and the
showman.
If I were to be a competitor, I would be like, okay, if I'm gonna criticize anything of that, I should be able to do it, and not many people can do.
You can't. You sit back and just enjoy the show, because that's the beauty of the tour, and then that's the difficulty of being a judge. Like, judges take a lot of flack, because you're kind of like, you might lean one way or the other, but they're trying to do this best job of balancing, like, hey, we want this sport to grow into an area where it's progressing. Like, these maneuvers are progressing and they're being rewarded, so people are trying them. If not, then it becomes a little more old school, which old school isn't bad, and you can always find your way to get a 9 with beautiful power surfing. The airs, the dynamic of like 10, 12 years ago, you did air reverse, you get a 7.5. Now it's like you have to freaking do a crazy air to get a 7.5.
Right.
It's got to be a full rotation, beautiful, and stomped. If you lay back and fall and twirl around, you're going to get a 3. Right. They did it to him in El Salvador. He did 2 big airs on a wave, kind of out of control, and they literally gave him a 3. I was like, holy crap. Like, it was crazy he even still pulled these maneuvers, but they didn't reward it, you know? So,
I mean, because now people is also flying, and they're not even landing on the wave. They're landing on the flat.
They're just stomped.
Like, Matt Meola does some crazy shit like that. I'm like,
knees just, oh my gosh.
I'm like, how you not breaking your
He's
body?
broken himself. I mean, like, he pretty much breaks himself.
But he lands like almost like a feet away from the wave, and you're like, wow.
Well, that's the thing with airs. Like, it's body rotate, especially if it's a rotation, it's head, body rotation, shoulders, trusting everything. And then you can't just go up because the wave's rolling. You'll go out the back. So it's up and out, and it's kind of into no man's land, but you're just trusting, that you're over your board, you're centered. It's all about being centered, or else you're going to kind of lay back and slap the water.
Yeah, I mean, the laybacks are cool with the big turns.
Oh, yeah. If you could combo it, though, it's still like there were some good combos in El Sal where guys are clicking it and rail and then finishing with the air on the inside. I feel like that's my favorite type of surfing. You have the whole kit and caboodle. A little bit of
everything, yeah.
The whole kit and caboodle is like, that's money.
I mean, it keeps evolving. I mean, back in the day, you had only adults flying. Now you have like 9-year-olds just throwing 360s.
It's only going to get crazier because there's, like we said, the pools. And when you learn something that young, like not that it becomes easy, but it kind of does. It's second nature. Like I didn't really start probably doing airs till I was 15, 16, trying like little air reverses, and then once it's kind of one of those things, like once you stick one, you're like, whoa, I got the feel, like floodgates open. Like I kind of know what I got to do now. And that was like a little reverse off the whitewash. Then you just try to start going, and it's the same thing. It's like now it's for a lot of the air guys, it's like, how big of a wave can you do it on? Like the bigger the wave, the more speed, the more criticalness. And that's why some of those guys like Miola and Albie and those guys in Maui surfing these pretty heavy waves, very powerful waves,
and they still
going to the sky. Like they're doing double rotations.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty crazy. And I mean, that's where it goes. Like how you have the speed, the wind there they use to their advantage. And then it's just commitment and body control. And
but it keeps, because there's probably few young kids that they haven't get in the biggest stage. They're already
doing it.
I want to try that.
They want to do more.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's like some kids.
A few years from now, it just keeps getting crazier and crazier, and people start throwing more gnarly shit out there.
It's like any sport, though. It's like I feel like there's that tradition, because we have these iconic waves. The Bells Beach, and you can do airs there, but it's like Kelly's done a crazy one out there, got a 10. But it's more, they want to see power. They want to see combination. So I feel like surfing has stayed true in that sense, even through
all the phases.
The phase of the technicalness of these aerials. They've done a good job. For a little bit, I think we all figured out they were getting scored too high, and they scaled it back. And now it's I feel like they're at a good stage where it's a good balance, and it still gives a guy like Italo that knows he has an edge there and he wants to fly. He'll still take those risks to do it, And I think you have to have that openness in a sport like ours to reward it, and the surfers will do it.
Exactly.
If not, they're gonna kind of stick to the criteria and they want to make these heats, so you kind of pigeonhole them.
Yeah, that's true, and that's what you have to just give the avenue to everybody, and be like, okay, if you're really good at that, show me the best on that.
Yeah, and I think with the World Tour, we all like, and I'm sure it's like with fighting, you guys, you look at matchups, like when you're surfing against someone, or some people say they don't look at who they're surfing against. I always thought it was good to know, like, hey, are they goofy foot? Are they regular foot? What's their what are they really good at? What are their maybe downfalls? Like, what am I really good at, and what can I maybe best them in? Right? It's like that's how I thought about
because
it.
Because the wave that you're surfing is gonna determine what main things you will use and what you're gonna try to stay away. Because some are fast, some are like
slow,
big and sloppy.
Like Bell's big and slopey. I always I wanted to surf really critical there and try to blow the tail, and you can, but you can't. You kind of have to power surf and carve, and they'll give you good scores. And I always fought against it a little bit. I'm like, I want to blast it and kind of surf it a little more like lowers, which lowers is a little more crumblier and less water. Like
Bell's is a lot of water.
Bell's surf's kind of big, kind of Hawaii, not Hawaii style, but similar. Like a Sunset Beach. So you got it. There's certain venues you go and you have to kind of adapt to that criteria and that wave to have success.
On that, Mario, what was like the gnarliest wave that you have to compete on?
for me, Chopu. I mean, Chopu or Pipeline.
Those are gnarly waves.
Tahiti is like, to me, it's more perfect of a wave. So I was like, hey, a few of the events, I think 2010 and was it 2010 maybe, in 2012, there were some big days. Probably got a few of the best waves of my life. And, you know, it was 8 to 10 foot, maybe a couple 12 footers. There was a heat with myself, John, and Kai, and we weren't even going on waves because they were like legit tow sets. And I was like, God, if they're not going, I'm not going.
Why I'm going?
It was crazy. Yeah, it was like these waves coming down the reef. You literally don't even see them. You come over the back of a wave and it just goes black. Like
There's
the
nothing.
ocean, and you can't really, like, you kind of hunker down, because if you paddle out, it's one of those waves where it slurps up right on the ledge, and if you go too far out, you're gonna miss it. So you kind of like, if you're going, you got to hold your ground, and you're kind of like, holy shit,
That's
this
scary.
thing looks like it's gonna break on me.
Is that wave when it's big? It's only made for tow, or people
I mean,
paddle?
people still try to paddle. You'll have a little crew, like at a certain stage, it's tow only. Like Code Red, we were there, and literally, no, you couldn't paddle it. Like every wave that was coming through was a tow wave. There was no like entry into the wave to paddle. It was just as thick as the wave was tall, just all this
that
water.
wave is crazy.
Yeah. So they were just towing, but there'll be those days that there'll be like, you know, a handful of tow sets. Like guys will sit out there on the skis kind of waiting for them, and there'll be people paddling into like waves in between. And yeah,
That place is scary.
it's perfect though. One thing I will say, it's like, it's a perfect wave. You make the drop and you can set a line. There's a really good chance you'll make the wave. Where pipes, to me, more unruly in the sense of maybe not as like thick and heavy, but a little shiftier. And it's obviously really shallow. Like I still think pipe's the most deadly wave.
I mean, how many people has
This year
destroyed?
was so gnarly. Like so many revivals. Thank God for the North Shore lifeguards are like the best in the world. And it's hard as hell to get in. Like what they have to do to get those guys in. It's such a hard task. Like
Those guys are the best
water,
lifeguards.
they're the best in the world. And the water, the way it just doesn't want to let you in. And you're trying to like, I couldn't imagine trying to get a body it's so gnarly. And they've saved lives. They're freaking
When was the last time you surfed when it's big there?
Pipe. I surfed there last year. It wasn't, or was it this last winter? Last winter, maybe. It's probably like 8 feet, like solid, but it wasn't crazy. It was pretty perfect, but it still had the like jitters, you know. There was a lot of Billy was out. There was a lot of good guys out. Really good waves. I think it was right after Jack Robinson had won last year. It was 6 to 8 feet, pretty flawless. But looking at some rights, like there was some backdoor waves, and it's shallow. There's
no water there.
Like the commitment, you're like, okay, I'm good enough to like surf this wave, but if you're not taking off at the right spot, you can get lip launched. You know, at any moment,
It's crazy.
any moment you're bouncing off the bottom, you know, depending where you're at. And it's, you know, especially when it's, you know, free surfing, there's a lot of people out and there's a lot of shit going on, moving parts. You got the pack, you know, of the big dogs that are, you know, looking for the bombs, and then everyone else is kind of scrapping around, groms to, you know, bodyboarders. So
It's a busy place.
it's a busy place. It's probably the most iconic wave in the world.
It is.
But if I don't have to surf out there, I'll probably go surf somewhere else.
I mean, when Hawaii gets good, I'm sure there's
There's a ton of spots.
empty places.
I mean, Sunset's different. Sunset's like a bigger open face, deeper water wave. So it's different testing, you know, maybe a little bigger board if you want to go kind of more open ocean. Then you have a bunch of little waves around there. You know, if it's not too big, Rockies is epic. It's 7 Mile Miracle, man. It's still one of the most, it's the most
waves.
iconic surfing, you know, venue in the world.
Because a friend of mine, long time ago, he went with his family for like a few weeks on a winter time.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, like 4 or 5 feet, everybody was in pipe, and
You can
it was like a wave pool.
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, maybe one day.
Even over from Pipe Aokai, you have, what is it? Pupukea. There's so many waves, little reefs, kind of patches, even towards like Haleiwa is an amazing wave when it's on West Swell. It's awesome. It's kind of an in-between. It's like, sunset-y, but like maybe more rippable in a way, but it's heavy. Like you get a lot of speed, ride bigger boards, freaking more performance, I would say. But that whole spot, you got
fun,
waves
yeah.
that aren't even ridden or seen, or even, little nooks and crannies along that whole strip that
I heard you can even film out there.
Yeah.
Like there's a spot that
there's a tons of waves where no filming.
There doesn't exist in the world,
Yeah.
but I feel it's good to keep it. I like when local limbs because it kind of keeps an order, because there's places that it's like Wild West and it gets fucked up, like adults yelling at kids and people trying to fight. It's like
there is a fine line of like having a pecking order, right? And kind of knowing like, hey, I'm not from there. I'm not expecting to go out there and get any wave I want.
Exactly.
Say what up to the boys, sit to the side, pick up a couple scraps. You might luck into a little back door. You just don't.
You never know.
Yeah. But I think that's for like up and coming surfers or just people traveling to anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like it's to anywhere. Like, hey, you go to France, you go to Portugal, you go to these spots. You don't just paddle out like you own it, right? You kind of say hi, work your way in.
And it goes like that with everything.
It's everything. That's kind of life. It's like kind of life.
And
lessons.
people sometimes say like, oh, you don't own the ocean. It's like when you go to a restaurant that you don't know the people, you don't tell them like, hey,
give me a drink.
you say hi. They sit you down. I mean,
it's just that respect.
I'm for the respect part, and if someone gets out of line, get spanked.
They might get a slap.
Yeah, why not? We need to bring them back.
It is kind of you think, like I see it. I mean, living in Huntington, obviously there's surfers everywhere. It's a shit show, but there's the old dogs that I know that have been there forever. So they're like number one. I just let them have waves, and it's kind of that order. Like for me now, I stay clear of that stuff. If you see it, but you try to make sure like, hey, if a Grom's trying to yell at an older guy, you go, Grom, like, look, wait your turn. You'll get your waves, or sit a little bit inside. There's just, but if someone's yelling at a Grom, like I'll step in and be like, hey, we'll figure this out. But if you just you want Groms too having respect for the elders that are out there, right? That have kind of come before you. It's just that chain reaction of life.
And that will make you better in the future. When you go to your job, you're not gonna tell your boss to fuck off.
People respect you. When you show respect, you usually get it back. And if not, then it's probably a tussle.
Exactly.
Right? That's kind of how it goes. But I think that's, for me, it's like showing respect wherever you go. And usually you get it in return, and you'll find a couple waves, and you'll have a way better trip. Where if you just kind of grind and get out there and start, it can be, because some locals look for those guys. Like they want some guys looking for that, right?
Yeah.
Some guys are looking for a little controversy. Waiting. Yeah, they're waiting for it, and a lot of the spots are like that. They're kind of waiting, looking, just seeing, and then they paddle out, and this guy's going crazy. That's kind of what they want. So it's. Surfing's a funny one in that way.
It's just way better. Respect all, keep it on peace, and
you'll get waves. It's time. It's like anything. You can't. I don't know. You're not going to go into Chito's gym and just start punching people, right?
I mean, but it's like any gym. If
you got to kind of work your way through.
If me and my coach go to a different gym to spar, I don't show up like a big dick. I fucking shakes everyone's hands and warm up and ask like, hey, can I put my shirt here? Like. You just don't take your shirt off, throw in the ground, and put your mouthpiece.
Because then you can rub someone the wrong way, right?
It's just bad energy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you come with a smile and say, what's up? I know we're going to get to sparring.
Yeah.
Save the minutes for there.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's
right. Why blew it off just with bad intentions and bad energy? But I feel like it's time to get back in the water.
We got you, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's
go, brother. Let's
Appreciate
go.
You.
This week.
Yeah.
It'll be fun waves at the end of the week.
I'll be here.
Okay.
Thank you
We're
for
gonna
doing this,
get
bro.
you out there, prepped up, ready to whoop some ass.
Fuck yeah.
Ah.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, bro. Thank you.